Israel and Syria agree to ceasefire in southern Sweida province. According to Reuters, Israel and Syria have agreed to a ceasefire in the southern Syrian province of Sweida, a region recently beset by clashes between Druze militias and Bedouin clans. The agreement, confirmed by a U.S. envoy, allows for limited access by Syrian government troops to the area to restore order. This diplomatic development aims to contain the sectarian violence that threatened to further destabilize the border region, representing a rare instance of tactical agreement between the two long-standing adversaries. At least 32 Palestinians killed seeking aid in Gaza, hospital says. According to Reuters, at least 32 Palestinians were killed by Israeli fire while attempting to reach humanitarian aid distribution sites in the southern Gaza Strip. Hospital officials in the region reported the casualties, which occurred near hubs where a U.S.-based aid group was providing food. The incident highlights the dire humanitarian crisis and the extreme dangers faced by civilians seeking essential supplies amid the ongoing conflict. Israeli forces have been conducting major military operations in the area. ICE races to build migrant tent camps with $45 billion in funding. According to Reuters, U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement is rapidly constructing migrant tent camps across the nation following a $45 billion funding boost secured by the GOP. The initiative, reported by the Wall Street Journal, aims to increase detention capacity from 40,000 to 100,000 beds by the end of 2025. This massive expansion of infrastructure signals a significant escalation of the Trump administration's strategy to detain large numbers of migrants crossing the U.S. border. Trump sues Wall Street Journal for $10 billion over Epstein report. According to Reuters, former U.S. President Donald Trump has filed a $10 billion libel lawsuit against the publisher of the Wall Street Journal, as well as its owner Rupert Murdoch. The suit pertains to reporting on Trump's alleged connections to the late financier Jeffrey Epstein. This legal action marks a significant escalation in the former president's battles with news organizations and follows a pattern of using litigation to challenge media coverage he deems unfavorable. Tourist boat capsizes in Vietnam's Halong Bay, killing 3. According to Reuters, a tourist boat capsized in Vietnam's popular Halong Bay, resulting in the deaths of 3 people. The incident occurred on Saturday, prompting a large-scale rescue operation in the UNESCO World Heritage Site known for its iconic limestone karsts. Local authorities have launched an investigation into the cause of the capsizing, which has cast a shadow over one of Vietnam's most prominent tourist destinations. Brazil's ex-president Bolsonaro ordered to wear electronic ankle tag. According to CNN, Brazil's top court has ordered former President Jair Bolsonaro to wear an electronic ankle monitor and has barred him from speaking to foreign officials amid a criminal trial. The court cited concerns that Bolsonaro posed a flight risk. The move comes as part of a broader investigation into the former leader's actions and has been accompanied by raids on his home, intensifying the political crisis in Brazil. Russian drone attack on Odesa kills 1 and injures 6. According to Reuters, a Russian drone attack on the Ukrainian port city of Odesa has killed at least 1 person and left 6 others injured. The overnight assault targeted port infrastructure and residential areas, continuing a pattern of Russian strikes aimed at crippling Ukraine's export capabilities and terrorizing civilian populations. Ukrainian air defense systems were engaged, but the attack resulted in significant damage and casualties. Congo and M23 rebels pledge peace deal in Qatar-hosted talks. According to Reuters, the government of the Democratic Republic of Congo and leaders of the M23 rebel group have signed a declaration of principles in Qatar, pledging to reach a final peace agreement next month. The talks aim to end the long-running conflict in eastern Congo, which has displaced millions. This commitment, facilitated by Qatar, represents a potentially significant step toward resolving one of Africa's most intractable conflicts. U.S. inflation accelerates to 2.7% in June, driven by higher costs. According to the Associated Press, U.S. consumer prices rose 2.7% in June from a year earlier, an acceleration from May's 2.4% rate and the highest level since February. The Labor Department report indicated that core inflation, which excludes food and energy, also ticked up to 2.9%. Economists attribute part of the increase to President Trump's sweeping tariffs, which are raising the cost of imported goods such as furniture, clothing, and appliances, posing a challenge for Federal Reserve policy. German factory orders unexpectedly fall 1.4% in May. According to Reuters, new orders for German industry fell by 1.4% in May 2025 compared to the previous month, defying analyst expectations for a slight decline. The data from the Federal Statistics Agency Destatus was weighed down by a sharp 17.7% drop in orders for computer and electronic products. The slump in domestic orders by 7.8% was a key driver, signaling persistent weakness in Europe's largest economy despite a rise in foreign demand. UK inflation unexpectedly rises to 3.6% in June. According to Bloomberg, the annual rate of consumer price inflation in the United Kingdom unexpectedly rose to 3.6% in June, up from 3.4% in May and marking its fastest pace since January 2024. The increase was largely driven by higher transport and fuel costs. Persistently high services inflation, a key metric for the Bank of England, remained at 4.7%, adding pressure on the central bank as it weighs future interest rate decisions amid a cost-of-living crisis. U.S. retail sales rebound by 0.6% in June after May decline. According to the Associated Press, U.S. retail sales bounced back in June, rising 0.6% after a decline in the previous month. The data from the Census Bureau topped economists' expectations for a 0.1% gain and suggests consumer spending remains solid despite inflationary pressures. The report, which showed a broad advance across categories, provides a positive signal for second quarter economic growth and indicates continued resilience among American consumers. U.S. stocks end record week with quiet, mixed session. According to the Associated Press, Wall Street closed its third winning week in the last four with a muted and mixed session on Friday. The S&P 500 edged down by less than 0.1% after setting an all-time high the previous day. The Dow Jones Industrial Average fell 0.3%, while the tech-heavy Nasdaq Composite rose less than 0.1% to post its own new record. The day saw rallies in some financial stocks after strong earnings, but profit-taking in high flyers like Netflix. Asian stocks diverge as Hong Kong rallies on policy hopes. According to the national news, Asian stock markets showed a divided performance on Friday. Hong Kong's Hang Seng Index jumped 1.3% and the Shanghai Composite rose 0.5% after Beijing vowed to support corporate profitability by curbing deflationary price wars. In contrast, Tokyo's Nikkei 225 index declined by 0.2% as investors grew cautious ahead of Japan's upper house elections scheduled for Sunday. This divergence highlights a market driven more by local policy and political events than by uniform global trends. European shares end week with muted, slightly lower performance. According to the national news, European stock markets finished the week on a subdued note, with most major indices ending flat or slightly lower. London's FTSE 100 closed up 0.2%, but Frankfurt's DAX slid 0.3% and the CAC 40 in Paris ended the day flat. Investors across the continent were digesting a mix of corporate earnings reports while remaining cautious about the ongoing uncertainty surrounding U.S. tariff policies and their potential impact on the European economy. U.S. Treasury yields ease as consumer inflation expectations soften. According to the Associated Press, U.S. Treasury yields fell on Friday after a University of Michigan survey indicated that consumers are lowering their expectations for future inflation. The yield on the benchmark 10-year Treasury note sank to 4.42% from 4.47%. This data is closely watched by the Federal Reserve, and softening inflation expectations could give the central bank more leeway to consider interest rate cuts later in the year, a prospect that supported bond prices. Thomson Reuters set to join the Nasdaq 100 index. According to Globe Newswire, Nasdaq announced that Thomson Reuters Corp will become a component of the Nasdaq 100 index and the Nasdaq 100 Equal Weighted Index, effective prior to market open on Monday, July 28, 2025. The information services and media giant will replace software company ANSYS Incorporated in the influential technology-focused index. This inclusion is a significant milestone for Thomson Reuters and will lead to its addition to various tracking funds and ETFs. Crypto-related stocks rally as President Trump signs stablecoin bill. According to Bloomberg, shares of cryptocurrency-related companies rallied on Friday after President Trump signed a landmark bill regulating stablecoins into law. Robinhood shares climbed 4% on the news. The president hailed the new law as a giant step to cement American dominance of global finance and crypto technology. The legislation provides the first comprehensive federal framework for stablecoins, a move seen by the industry as a major victory that provides regulatory clarity and paves the way for broader adoption. U.S. enacts landmark stablecoin regulation into law. According to the Associated Press, President Trump has signed a major bipartisan bill to regulate stablecoins, a type of cryptocurrency pegged to stable assets like the U.S. dollar. The legislation, which received final congressional approval with a 308 to 122 House vote, creates the first comprehensive federal framework for these digital assets. The move is being hailed by the crypto industry as a major milestone that provides much-needed regulatory clarity and could pave the way for broader institutional adoption of digital currencies. Taiwan implements new tech export controls for national security. According to Bloomberg, Taiwan is implementing new technology export controls as a measure to enhance its national security amidst rising geopolitical tensions. The controls are expected to focus on safeguarding the island's world-leading semiconductor industry from being leveraged by potential adversaries. This strategic move aims to protect Taiwan's crucial technological advantages and prevent sensitive know-how and equipment from falling into the wrong hands, underscoring the critical role of the chip industry in global security. Japan's Rapidus produces first prototype AI chip. According to Bloomberg, Japan's state-backed chip venture, Rapidus, has successfully produced its first prototype chip, marking a significant step toward the country's goal of reviving its semiconductor industry. The development is a key milestone for Japan's ambitions in artificial intelligence and advanced computing. Rapidus aims to mass-produce cutting-edge 2-nanometer chips by 2027, a crucial part of Japan's strategy to reduce its reliance on foreign manufacturers and regain a leading position in the global tech race. China VC funds attract $2 billion from global investors. According to Bloomberg, Chinese venture capital funds are experiencing a resurgence in interest from global investors, having tapped them for $2 billion in a recent comeback. This influx of capital suggests that despite ongoing geopolitical and trade tensions, international financiers still see significant opportunities in China's technology sector. The fundraising indicates a renewed confidence in the potential for high-growth startups in the world's second-largest economy, particularly in strategic areas targeted for development by Beijing. U.S. imposes steep tariffs on Chinese graphite for EV batteries. According to the New York Times, the U.S. Commerce Department has announced steep tariffs on refined graphite from China, an essential ingredient for electric vehicle batteries. The decision follows a preliminary ruling that Chinese suppliers were dumping the material on the U.S. market at unfairly low prices. This move is part of a broader U.S. strategy to counter China's dominance in the EV supply chain and encourage the development of domestic or allied sources for critical minerals.